Welcome to Bastard Quest. I'm the Game Bastard Kyle.
I am Todd.
I'm Patori.
I'm Austin.
Hello.
We're playing Achtung, Cthulhu.
Yeah.
It is a great game from Odysseus, 2D20 system. We've played it before.
We're back to 2D20.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think it's been since the last time we played Achtung Cthulhu that we played a 2D20 game.
Yeah.
We've played quite a few over the years.
I played some in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I use the D20 system to determine my lunch every day.
Oh. I see.
What is your focus?
Charcuterie.
Cold cut trio.
By the time the decision is made, the break is over.
So this is one of the only full-on campaigns we're playing.
Yes, we are playing actually the Shadows of Atlantis campaign, which they have more than one out now for Achtung Cthulhu. As far as I know, this is the first one they put out.
And it's been pretty awesome. I think this is our fourth.
Oh, yeah. When we started playing this campaign, I think they had just published the game.
Yeah.
I mean, World War II just ended.
Yeah.
But yeah, even the starter kit for this game has 6 campaigns to go with it. They've published a lot of content for this game.
Yeah, they have. As a matter of fact, the new one that just recently came out is Achtung Cthulhu The Bachelor.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
He gives you a poisoned rose. And yeah, when we started playing this, Khrushchev was on our podcast.
Yeah. I miss Khrushchev.
I miss his eyebrows.
He was funny. Nothing but fart jokes.
So if you're not familiar with the 2D20 system, it's pretty straightforward. And as the name implies, the core mechanic is focused around rolling 2D20s.
Yeah, instead of a difficulty number that you're rolling to beat, you're rolling against the number of successes you have to achieve. So you're still rolling to try and get a number, but the difficulty of the task calculates how many dice you have to roll to get it.
Yeah, and there's ways to change that dice pool.
Yes.
Yeah, so if something's super difficult, you might have to roll 3 successes, in which case you'd obviously have to augment your dice.
Or using perhaps momentum, which is a meta currency in this.
Yes. You could also get crits if you rolled well enough. If you roll a 1 is good in this game. That's worth 2 successes.
And you could have focuses that change your crit range as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And my absolute favorite thing about the 2D20 system is the tiny little level of customization that you get as a player on how difficult a roll might be. And that's because of the say you get in the skills and attributes you determine are going to be appropriate for a certain action. So if I'm planning on making a tricky shot while I'm climbing a mountain, Kyle would tell me that, of course, coordination is what I have to use to make the shot. But if I negotiate with Kyle, I might be able to make sure that I don't have to use fighting. I might be able to use athletics in order to not make the shot, but to not fall while I do it. And in which case, if that's a higher skill level, that might give me a little bit of a leg up on the roll.
So let's talk about characters. Todd, who do you have over there?
Sven Nielsen.
He's
Hello.
back.
That's right.
He's back. He's Norwegian rune weaver. He does the magics.
He's a happy man.
Yes, he wants to eventually retire to the Americas so he can see Broadway shows and baseball.
He's a sorcerer of some repute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He defeated the Black Sun single-handedly in Norway.
Yeah. Did what with him, Todd?
He strung them from trees.
Just hung them.
That's
from
right.
right.
As you do. Austin, who do you got over there?
Well, hey, I'm Pierre Walsh, resident Canadian. You
And-
got to have one of those on every one of your Cthulhu fighting teams there.
Yep, one of those 51st staters, as we call them in our newly designed military.
What is going on? But as with most Canadians, Pierre is a private detective.
Yes,
Yeah, and a black marketeer.
absolutely.
Just like John Candy.
Oh, I remember that time John Candy got arrested going into Singapore with all those antiquities in his luggage.
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
who are you playing?
I'm packing 2 characters in this one, Kyle.
Okay, twins?
Corporal Sarah Walker. Well, sort of.
In magnitude.
Corporal Sarah Walker, Australian commando. She's nice.
Yeah.
She's very nice.
She'll kill the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And she has a trusty German Shepherd by the name of Operle. He's a psychic dog. He can speak inside your mind.
Yeah.
They really are the Shields and Yarnell of the Cthulhu universe.
Oh, yeah.
They are.
Operle really carries the team from time to time.
A little bit.
So all these were pre-generated characters in, I believe, a Quick Trip to France adventure. Obviously.
The quick start we did,
Yeah.
All except little old Austins, who picked the shitty one.
Well,
Yeah. But they have all evolved since then. Oh, the dog in Quick Trip to France is not psychic.
well, at the time, Sarah thought she was talking to him, but he has
Yeah.
since become psychic, and he has a new ability, spontaneous combustion. we did some leveling up off the air, and he can make
Yeah.
you burst into flames.
God, I love that dog.
He's a good fucking boy.
He's a
Yeah.
good boy.
God bless Scritch
I
him.
pay to see that on TikTok.
I'm gonna touch him.
Yeah, we did level up, and Sven has a new magic spell.
Yeah.
It is the Bounty of Balder.
Oh.
Ooh.
You see, he uses the Alge's runes of protections to cast a protection spell on his comrades. So anytime we're being attacked, he can cast the Bounty of Balder. And for Sven and Sarah, Operle, and Pierre, any attack, close range attacks against them will increase +2 difficulty.
Pretty damn good.
Holy shit.
The quicker picker-upper, Balder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Pierre just has a focus of linguistics now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that we don't get completely lost wandering around a fucking Italian museum.
Right. Crack fucking commando.
Most Canadians speak at least 7 languages.
It's true.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't go by commandos. We're known as Canadamandos.
Okay.
Corey's a good editor. I sat here for 30 seconds trying to work that out before I said it.
Sarah didn't do much. She simply raised her agility by 1. She has
Okay.
an 11 in agility now, which is pretty damn good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get under the target number. So,
Yes. So higher is better.
yep.
I do appreciate with Sarah's character that they just really leaned into the trope. They make an Australian commando. What weapon do they give her? A boomerang.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
Just those crack World War II Australians flinging boomerangs around the battlefield.
I don't know. She made good use of it in that barn.
I just thought it was weird that they gave Operle a pouch she could ride in. Stupid.
And, also stereotypically, Sven has a bow and arrow, which every Norwegian is proficient in.
Yes.
One of the things they do to celebrate the Yule is they line everybody up and use bow and arrow to shoot herring off of people's heads.
Yeah. Every child is given a bow, an arrow, and an Ibanez guitar at birth.
I see. I love the traditional firing of the arrows into Denmark.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
And of
tradition.
course, there's the dance around the Yngve Malmsteen statue in the town square.
Which they then fire arrows at.
Yes.
You are in Egypt! Because that's where we left
Oh, okay.
the adventure last time.
Yeah.
You've returned to Cairo, reported into Majestic Command, had a few weeks of rest and relaxation.
Sven took the opportunity to once again go topless and just wander about the city.
Yes. Eventually, however, you're recalled and packed into an airplane at the airport and told you're heading to Delhi to handle a delicate situation. The pilot is, of course, the expert airman, Mossy Pete.
Oh.
Hey, how you doing there, Pete?
When you climb into his cargo plane, it smells vaguely of rancid seawater and seagulls.
Dear Lord.
Recently find this plane, did you?
Well, I've been flying it around. You just get in your seat and
And the water?
tuck her in. I fly some chickens, and we got wet.
I was thinking that he was pretending the plane was a pelican and he was just diving straight into the water trying to catch fish.
I tried it. Had to get a new rotor. So you got strap in, we're going to go.
He's a disgusting old man.
He does have a pea jar up front.
Oh, God.
Well, a war's on.
Mossy Pete is an ancestor of Lex Luthor in the Snyderverse.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
Would it?
Yeah.
I mean-
it would explain a lot, I think, about that character's psychosis.
So where we heading, Mossy Pete?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we got to give him these papers.
They just wrote Delhi on here,
Well, I could go for a sandwich myself.
so I'm just going to fly us east. That's where Delhi is, they said. So Mossy Pete does not know why you've been dispatched to New Delhi.
Oh, so the man who's been nosediving his plane into the ocean to get fish doesn't know what's going on. Got it. Okay. Cool. How the fuck did we win that war?
Well, Mossy Pete is a civilian freelance contractor. Yeah. So the plane takes off. You fly east, out of Egypt, over the Red Sea, and eventually high enough in the air that it's difficult to discern the ground below. But you presume somewhere eventually you would cross Persia and then into India. Though as the flight progresses, the turbulence becomes increasingly worse. And soon enough, you're flying through heavy cloud cover and storms. Whoever wishes can make an insight plus vehicles check. Difficulty 1.
My insight's 11, but I don't have vehicles.
Operle's insight is also 11.
Does he have vehicles?
It says he can only drive a Panzer.
Yeah.
That's what they were bred for.
All right, so Kyle, I can try to beat an 11.
Sure. It's just difficulty 1.
Okay. I'm going to roll one of my new gigantic D20. So I'm just going to try to beat the 11. Yeah, that's a 10.
Okay, Austin, Pierre notices a few discrepancies. Now, he's obviously not a pilot, but in his work with mystical government organization that he's currently operating in, he's been on more than a few planes, and he's never seen the gauges spin quite so erratically or unusually, particularly the compass, which apparently is just caught in some sort of cycle in which it just turns endlessly. And also, Mossy Pete is sweating. Not unusual for Mossy Pete, but the level of sweat on Mossy Pete's brow and the way he's furrowing his bushy eyebrows at his instruments does make you think he might actually be concerned.
Hey, Mr. Pilot there, you look clammier than a day-old T-Ho's pancake. What's the matter with you?
Well, I don't know what that means.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Everything's fine.
Well, it doesn't look fine. Look at these instruments.
Well, we're going to die probably.
Why don't I sit down here and try to help you land this sucker?
Well, where are we going to land?
I don't know. You're the pilot.
So you look out the window. You can see nothing but gray and darker shades of cloud bank. Above, below, there's no sign of land. There's no sign of anything except cloud.
So I took a shot in the dark. Is this one of those planes that has a co-pilot seat?
Of course.
All right. So can I try to help him just hold the plane steady at least?
Sure. I mean, you're not crashing or anything, but clearly, the temperature gauge is swinging wildly. The compass is screwy. Altitude keeps fluctuating up and down, but there's some turbulence, but obviously there's nothing to explain the way the instruments are going crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Sven, come up here. I'm going to try to help our buddy hold the plane steady, but why don't you take a look around? It seems like something magical might be fucking with the plane.
Look, you guys just go back there. The stewardess will be around with drinks shortly.
That's a goddamn lie.
Glenda!
What are you talking about? If there's been a Glenda on here, we'd have met her first thing.
There is a duck in the fourth row.
Oh, okay.
That has yet to be explained by Mossy Pete.
Has Operle seen this duck yet?
They've been playing Uno for an hour.
Oh, okay. I see.
So yeah, Todd, I'm really just looking to see if Sven has any insight that he might be able to see something that we don't have the capacity to see.
Well, Sven comes up to the cockpit and takes in the situation and going to use his insight, which is a 10, plus his observation, which is 1. So my target number to beat will be 11.
Okay, this is going to be difficulty 2.
That's an 11 and a 5.
Nice.
So Sven gets up, comes up. He's leaning over the cockpit, looming over Mossy Pete. Oh! But you notice that the clock in the cockpit has stopped, and you also notice your own watch has stopped, and so has Pierre's, and they've all stopped about 10 minutes after you left Cairo, which, by your estimation of time-lapse, would have been hours ago.
Pierre, look at your watch. Look at my watch. Time has stopped.
Yeah, it feels like that every time we fly. I don't know what that is.
Y'all bring one of them cursed elephant statues on my plane.
Wait a minute.
You know the little ones you get, and they bring a curse on your house?
Wait a minute. It really has stopped.
What I'm saying is we've been in the air for hours, and yet our clocks have not moved since 10 minutes outside of Cairo.
Either that or we drove through some sort of electromagnetic something or other that I wouldn't know yet because it's 1941.
I have an idea. Let's ask the dog. I was thinking we ask him about what is happening here, because sometimes animals have more insight into that than we do. For instance, my friend Flappy was the one who told me that my girlfriend in high school was cheating on me.
Ah, fucking A, right?
Sea lions always know.
Somewhere in the Mediterranean, Flappy closes in on Egypt. For those just joining us, Flappy is Sven's spirit animal. What, some sea lion?
Yeah, he's a sea lion.
Yeah.
I've called on him for help when we were in Egypt, and he started swimming there, but we left before he got there.
Yeah, just completely forgot about that you even called him.
Yeah.
So Operle doesn't immediately respond because Operle is staring straight out the front window of the plane at a red dot far in the distance that's getting closer and closer.
Wow, those cats weren't kidding. Red dots are great.
What you say there, boy?
There's something coming ahead. My dog eyes see it well.
Emerging through the cloud cover is this bright red object, and it's soon joined by a second, and they are coming straight at the plane. Mossy Pete, oh gosh! He panics, he freezes, but fortunately they pass by either side and disappear behind you. Then a few moments later they come up on either side of the plane, and when he tries to maneuver, they tend to box him in, as if guiding him to a distant location.
I see what they're after here. Pete, these may be our landing beacons. We're either being hijacked or we're being ushered in by whoever it is that ordered us out here.
I think it's probably the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
Yeah, I heard he doesn't like planes.
Yeah, he haunted me once. So eventually the cloud cover does begin to break, and you find yourself in mountainous country, not terribly unusual for northern India.
With the red thing still with us?
They're still with you.
Okay.
And they begin guiding you on a course higher into the mountains.
Okay, Kyle, while we're still in the air, now that they're on either side of us, can Pierre get a closer and more detailed look at what they are?
So they are red orbs scintillating with energy on either side of the plane, but beyond that you can't discern much.
Okay.
Operle looks to Sarah. We're not all psychically tethered yet,
Sure.
so he can only communicate with her.
I would like to get a smell at these things. Can you crack a window for me?
And this is a 1940s plane. The windows probably roll down.
Pete's had Pete's had the freight door open the whole trip.
just a huge air billowing through the entire time.
Yeah, Operle would like to smell at these things.
Sure, you can make an observation attempt to smell them.
Okay. Is the window down?
Of course.
Okay. He just sticks his head out. That's all he really wanted.
The best ever! It's so fast up here!
I love seeing him so happy.
So Operle would like to try his insight and his observation to discern in a dog-like way what exactly we're dealing with here with these gray orbs he sees.
Sure.
I'm going to write down in a dog-like way.
So he has an 11 in insight and a 3 in observation. He has a focus in smell and taste, so anything 3 and under is crit range for Operle.
Okay, so I'm going to say this is difficulty 3 because this is magic and he is a dog.
Okay. He also has a special rule called Keen Senses. Reduce the difficulty of skill tests to detect smells by 2.
I don't know that his sense of smell will be particularly useful here.
He's a psychic dog, Kyle.
Okay, so I'm going to say
Sure.
this. I'm going to say this on the off chance that this is relevant.
Okay.
When that magician from Yog-Sothoth appeared in the last adventure, sorcerer, I guess is a better term, we agreed Yog-Sothoth has a particular scent that Operle was sensitive to that time around.
It smells like pee.
That may not
It's canon!
That may not be relevant this time, but it was something we did last time.
So I would say that practitioners of particular old gods have a particular smell. I would say a magical spell doesn't necessarily.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Like the effect, right?
that's a clue by itself.
Also, you are in a plane at high altitude traveling at many, many miles per hour.
But like dog point.
Sure.
You ever seen a bird dog?
I have.
We live in Western Kentucky.
That's what Operle is. You're right.
This is just a big red ball of bird. Right?
Not at all, but roll your dice.
Nothing. It's just a wisp of cloud.
Okay. So my target number is 14. And does my keen senses kick in here to reduce the difficulty?
Not at all.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
It's a 6 and a 7, so 2 successes.
So Operle can't really discern anything that the others don't.
Smells like air!
Yes. So eventually these red orbs come together over the front nose of the plane and begin pushing it down. Or rather, Mossy Pete begins to descend because he doesn't want them to touch his plane. And soon enough, you see a landing strip on a valley in the middle of the mountains, illuminated by strange lights in the darkness. I'm going to try to put her down there.
That sounds like a great idea there, Mossy Pete.
Oh, good. I thought it sounded dangerous. And once he's announced this intention, the red orbs fade away.
I would like to point out, I have not gone outside these in like 9 hours.
Yes, nor have I.
Sven goes in the yard. Quick, find me some snow. It's the only way you can. And the whole time in Egypt, we were over there with a cheese grater and a tray of ice cubes. So Sven could go.
Yep.
Sven needs to go boom boom.
Got to have something to kick over it.
Yes, sir. When we were in Italy, the Italian ice really came into handy.
made that vendor fella really mad.
He filled up so many cones.
Mossy Pete makes a semi-safe landing on this strip in this narrow mountain valley. You take only light injuries. And eventually the plane does come to a grinding halt. It is dark. The stars are shining high above. The flickering lights all around are torches set into the ground. And nearby, there is a young man in what a modern audience might think of traditional Tibetan clothes. And he raises a hand in greeting.
Oh, yeah. Hey there.
Excuse me, sir. Is this the deli?
Hello. Welcome to the Hidden Valley. I will take you to my master.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the birthplace of ranch.
That's what I was
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes. You have heard of us.
Once again, we apologize to all nations.
Yes.
What's Paul Newman doing here? And Caesar.
Come, do not be afraid. My master would speak with you.
Who's your master there, mate?
It is the Sering Lama.
Oh.
Quick question, Kyle.
Yes, Todd.
Are these snowy mountains that we're in?
Yes, though there's not snow on the ground. It is a grassy plain.
Shit.
But the higher cap peaks are covered in snow.
I'll be back in a few hours, fellas. I need to scale this peak.
That's
the idea that that's just some fucking compulsion.
that's the Norwegian for he's prairie dogging. He's scaling the peak.
No need, friend Sven. We have an ice toilet prepared for you.
Oh, thank
Sven's
you.
got to go plant a flag, and then he can...
I'm crapping right now.
I'm going to go seed the Ford.
Now, obviously, as far as any of you know, you didn't tell him your names, right?
Oh, wait. Did you know my name?
Oh, my master knew who you were, and he said you would come. He said Sven and Pierre and the great Operle and his friend. Susan.
Well, that's fucking typical. Oy.
Very dangerous, he said Susan is.
Okay, anything you need laundered? What? Fucking hell.
Well, what is it your boss wants with us?
Come, he will explain all.
And say his name again, the Sering Lama?
The Sering Lama. So he leads you through the valley, and in the distance you can see other locals doing intricate ceremonial dances. There's music in the air, but he leads you to a temple far away from the celebrations.
There's another dog.
Operly fucking bolts.
He gestures towards the dancers. Yes, the old year is being driven out, seeing out the devils as well with the traditional cham dance.
Ah.
You can dance it later. By the way, that is apparently a real thing, the complex ceremonial cham dance.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Modifius listens to the podcast, guys.
This universe is expanding.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, they listen to it in the future and communicated backwards in time.
Yeah, we should still sue.
And if we do the ceremonial cham dance, we get 10% off Tibetan robes.
Yeah. So you come to this temple with a set of stairs going up sharply.
I'm used to that. I'm from Australia. All of our stairs are serrated.
They're actually angled backward.
Yes, in Norway, they're all made of ice.
He takes you up, and soon you're breathing heavy from the exertion because of the high altitude. But eventually you come to the roof where there's a seating area and benches. and you have this grand view of the dark valley stretched out below you. Stars in the sky. Stars that you realize are very different from any constellations you've seen at this time of year. And there's a man in a red robe with a yellow headdress, very old. He says, "Hey!" No. You can't do Mossy Pete again. That would be ridiculous. The man gestures for you to sit near him. "Greetings, heroes. I am glad that you have been brought here by magics."
No one tells me to sit.
"Are you sure?" And he takes his hand out. He has a little piece of bacon in his hand.
Sit. Belly exposed.
The camera pans over, and so is Pierre.
He's holding a piece of Canadian bacon.
Is that Canadian bacon?
It's just ham.
"I am the Sering Lama, and I've had to bring you here. I am sorry for any deceit.
It's okay. What can we do for you, sir?
Kill Nazis."
Fair dinkum.
Done and done, sir. Have you got a particular mission you have for us?
I think the correct way to say it would be kill more Nazis, because we have killed quite a few.
I thought you just said we. Because we.
So the Sering Lama explains how many years ago the Third Reich sent an expedition into the mountains of Tibet to search for the birthplace of the Aryan peoples and to conduct all these land surveys. And this is a thing the Nazis actually did in real life because they were fucking lunatics.
Jesus.
Yeah, they sent this dude and he was measuring all these people's skulls in Tibet to, like, perfect Aryan skull shape. That's not a joke. That is a thing they believed because they were lunatics.
Sure.
But he tells you that recently they have returned, and he describes them wearing uniforms that you would recognize as Nachtwolf uniforms, and that they have made contact with a foul monastery.
So it's full of ducks?
No, it is full of evil magics. And he describes a group called the Blue Hat Monks, which rings a bell. And you recall encountering these people, having recently fought them in Egypt.
Yes, I know these smelly piss men.
So what he describes is that a Nachtwolf archaeologist, scholar, that he only knows as L, is at the Veiled Monastery translating ancient book in their possession called the Book of the Machine. And as he translates this book, he transmits the translations back to Berlin via radio. "You must take out the radio tower and destroy its function so that he cannot communicate the secrets of the Book of the Machine. And if need be, destroy the copy there.
Where is this radio tower?
My students shall take you there to see it.
So are we in Nepal?
In a matter of speaking."
Oh, okay. Australian radio only plays screaming.
"My student Sunlight Lion shall take you there."
What?
Hello.
Hello, mate.
It's the guy that greeted you at the plane.
Oh,
Thank you to Patreon Sunlight Lion.
yeah, and to L, who we're going to kill.
So the Lama explains that the Book of the Machine, and he warns you that you may not believe what he is going to tell you, describes the operation of an ancient Atlantean device.
Oh, I thought it was the owner's manual for a 84 Ford Tempo at first.
No, they took that one directly back to Berlin.
Take it to Volkswagen.
But
What is a hatchback?
But he explains that, and he starts describing artifacts that you've already come into contact with.
We've got all kinds of weird shit.
The Book of the Machine would explain how to assemble these artifacts into a terrible weapon that the Third Reich must not have.
But we can have it, right?
Well, better you than anyone in Nachtwolf or Black Sun.
Okay, cool. We'll drop it on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Because we're the good guys. Genocide.
USA.
It's not that kind of weapon, but
Yeah, we at least got to try to get a copy of that book and get it back to Majestic, I think.
you should destroy the one that they have. There may be others that I can get for you. And he kind of touches his finger to his nose.
I see. Well, that makes our job easier, honestly.
So, your mission is essentially to infiltrate the Veiled Monastery, take out the radio tower, and take out their copy of the Book of the Machine. If you can't do both, do at least one.
That's taking out a radio tower and destroying a book, easy peasy.
Yeah, we're not having to navigate an astral plane or anything like that this time around.
I mean, I'm sure that this adventure will be easier than the previous ones, you know.
speaking from the rules of a game, that has to be true.
They get progressively easier as you go through them.
Good. Now you can join me in some delicious yak butter tea.
Okay.
Here, I have a bowl prepared for you, Operle.
Oh, fair dinkum.
I put extra yak.
Jehovah smiles on me today.
Operle decides to become a Buddhist.
I'm leaning that way. No, I shall remain with the dyslexic god who named my species after himself.
The llama nods wisely. So Sunlight Line comes around. I have gifts. And he hands each of you a eye-like bead strung onto a strip of leather. It's made of agate. This is a charm that will protect you. We call it the goat's eye bead.
Ah, that's interesting. What does it do?
It protects you from harm.
And goats?
Oh, no.
Because when they look at you, it's all weird. Their eyes go sideways.
We no longer allow goats in the Sacred Valley.
It used to be 2 stories.
Interesting.
Too much heroin.
Yeah, in Nepal, they don't call it muling drugs. They call it goating drugs.
Yeah. Mr. Walsh, would you like a silver furba?
I probably. What's that?
So he hands you a carved ritual knife, silvery.
Yeah, I'll take it. We collect knives in Canada.
Say there, Mr. Sunshine Lion. You got any more of them shiny daggers, do you?
Now you get a rope.
So this is a ritually blessed dagger, and basically it is a dagger with the Bane quality.
Ooh, okay.
Bane against what?
Bane.
Oh.
Who's born in the darkness?
Yeah.
Pierre's going to have a very specific arc this time around.
No, what exactly does Bane do, Kyle?
So a Bane weapon is particularly effective against Mythos creatures. So a lot of Mythos creatures have the invulnerable special rule, or like tough or something. But Bane basically doesn't allow them to spend threat to ignore wounds.
Oh, okay.
It's a normal dagger. So if you're fighting just a typical Nazi, I mean, you might as well use a gun or something. But
Like your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
In modern times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great holdout weapon if we get in close quarters with a fucking
Cthulhu.
Yogg-Sothoth
Yeah.
monster.
Well, that's the thing. Against a monster, it's going to get past all their unnatural defenses.
Yeah.
So,
This is actually a pretty spiffy dagger here. I appreciate it.
oh, you're welcome. Perhaps you will be able to use it.
I hope so.
Yes, it might be a great weapon to wield against the terrible entities drawn to our world from the dark between the stars.
And you gave it to the Canadian?
Sunlight Line points at Sven. He already has a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do, but I would still like a present because this reminds me of birthdays in Norway where everyone on their birthday is gifted the heart of a muskox.
And let me guess, you didn't get one.
I gotta go there sometime.
That is really messed up. So, they give you a place to sleep and tell you that you will depart in the morning. Do you guys do anything particular on your night in Tibet?
Yeah, Pierre studies the maps that they have on hand to try and get deeper sense of orientation for when they kind of make their charge.
Sure, you're not really familiar with the topography of Tibet or Nepal or the mountainous region of the Himalayas, but if your math is right, the Veiled Monastery that you're going to travel to is hundreds of miles from where you currently are.
Oh, God.
Well, Sven is going to climb that peak and make
Okay.
hard.
Gross.
All right.
So it's hundreds of miles away? Like, we're expected to trek?
That is apparently what conclusions Pierre is drawing from the maps.
Can't Mossy Pete, like, let us parachute over it?
So you go down to the plane, and Mossy Pete has the entire engine disassembled out on the grassy knoll. He has a bunch of Tibetan kids running around carrying parts. Now I'm going to teach you something about motors.
I'm okay, mate.
But Sunlight Line tells you not to worry, that the journey will be quite brief.
This is some kind of magic that I am not familiar with.
All right, so while we're still preparing, guys, gather around this table and review what our abilities are so that we can also make sure nobody completely forgets the advantages we have at our disposal, like I have a couple of times. So Pierre has the following talents, all of which are useful, and all of which I have made use of exactly probably once, if that.
Well, absolutely.
So, number 1, he's a polymath. This is an investigator talent. Once per scene, I can spend 2 momentum to gain an additional focus in any skill 2 or higher. I have subtle cues. If you have time enough to observe someone, when you later try to make a persuade roll against them, you gain the first additional D20 free.
That's pretty good.
And then I have bizarre insight like Sven, and then I also have the sharpshooter talent. When you aim, the first bonus D20 is free, and the attack gains piercing or improves piercing by +1. And then for equipment, in addition to the dagger I was just given, I still have my old Thompson, my tranq gun, and my 45.
Operle is psychic.
Yep.
Also has metal jaws, if I recall.
Yes, magic metal jaws. I don't know if they're magic.
Could you bless these, weird old man?
No, they're not magic.
He can link us all psychically. He can send thoughts. And then Sarah also has sharpshooter, but she also has they don't like it up 'em, which is like the melee version of sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Just upsetting.
Yep.
Todd, what do you got?
Sven, being a rune weaver, has many spells.
Sure.
He has the Hammer of Thor. That's
Yes.
his fighting spell. He has the Blessing of Air, which is a healing spell, a ward spell also. Basically, it removes stress from his allies.
And then the new Baldur thing that we've already talked about.
Yes, and of course the Wisdom of Frigg, which is an observation spell. And then he's got mystical power. When I cast a spell, I can increase my power by +2 drain.
And also you have the magical bow of policeman shooting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and C4. I have C4.
Look out for snow cops.
I call it the Pobo.
One of my favorite sandwiches.
In the morning, Sunlight Line takes you out of the temple, down through the valley, to the shores of a lake. It is surrounded by barren yellow grass and several small gompas, which are apparently religious houses.
And something you can jump on in Mario.
They're carefully stacked, carved, and painted prayer stones, sometimes topped with yak horns. And the entire lake is perfectly still and almost a mirror-like reflection.
There's another dog in this lake.
And he says, "Come, we will go to the Veiled Monastery. There will be no need for you to hold your breath." So he begins walking into the water, beckoning for you to follow him.
Well, this is a new experience. I'm down for it. Here we go.
Sven starts disrobing because he doesn't want to get his clothes wet.
Another naked Todd character.
So you step foot into the lake. It's icy cold. You walk further, and then suddenly you just drop into the deep end. You're completely consumed in darkness. Your feet hit the ground. You can see the dim outline of Sunlight Line ahead of you, and gradually your feet are walking up to the surface. You see it above you. You break through the surface, and you're in a completely different valley.
How'd you get an Australian pond here?
This is how every body of water is over there.
You emerge onto a broad, exposed lakeshore. In the distance, you can see the lights of a monastery, not terribly dissimilar from the one you left, but this one is surrounded by a tall circular wall and set against the side of a mountain. And on top of a kind of raised stone mass, you can see a radio tower jutting into the air.
Well, that's a more amazing sight than the fucking moose mirage that almost made me crash my Studebaker.
Okay.
Sunlight Lion nods sagely at you. Ah, yes. I have heard of the mooses.
It's moosin'.
Sven removes his clothing from his watertight pouch that he carries with him and puts his clothes back on.
So Sunlight Lion gestures at the monastery, and the difference, that is the Veiled Monastery. It is full of enemies, dobs, and blue hat monks.
So this is Mario, right?
What are dobs then?
Apparently, according to the book, they are martial artists.
Oh.
Apparently somebody found a book of either Nepalese or Tibetan words, a dictionary, and went to town.
Okay. As long as it wasn't like American slang for people who practice martial arts in Nepal.
I don't. I mean, we're racist, but I mean, we're not that specifically racist.
I don't know. John Wayne was not that good of an improviser, and I've heard him come up with some shit.
Well, maybe.
Give it 6 months, Kyle.
The Dum-Dums of Nepal are taking our jobs.
The Nepalese are invading America.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't like yak butter, because who doesn't? But
Say there, Starlight Puma. Do you know of any secret ways up the mountain to the radio tower?
I don't. But you are expert warriors. I'm sure you have no problem fighting all the hordes of enemies within.
So once we blow up the tower, can we just flee back this direction and just dive back in the pond?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, it's the first time we've ever had a built-in escape plan before we start one of these shits.
Oh, is that new?
Oh, it is. We're what you call on the flyers.
Well, that's what he calls himself. I wish to not be referred to that way.
Oh, yes, great Sven.
Thank you.
So, the failed monastery is before you. It is midday. You are some miles from it, but you can make your approach multiple different ways. But we will pick that up next time.
All right.
Because we don't have time for about 30 combats in this section.
Fuck.
Oh, it's good to be back in Achtung land.
It's good to be back with these characters. Man, I missed them.
I do like the 2D20 system. I'm happy to play through Achtung Cthulhu again. Then we'll have to find another 2D20 game to introduce a new one that we haven't played before.
There's several we haven't got to yet.
Yeah.
So,
And if you're a fan of the 2D20 system, you can order 2D20s from NorseFoundry.com. Not just D20s, they have D6s, they have D8s, they have D12s, they have D4s.
Good Lord.
Yes, they do. And once you make your purchase, when you're checking out, please be sure to enter promo code CHAM, that's CHAM, to receive the 10% Bastard Quest discount at NorseFoundry.com.
you do have to enable your webcam so they can see you doing the cham dance.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to reiterate. I did not make that up. Apparently, that is some sort of specific dance in Nepal.
Oh, that won't be the last we hear of that.
Yeah.
You essentially have to do the YMCA dance, but make a C and H.
I thought you had to spell out buddy.
CHAM.
Then you drive the demons out for another year.
Well.
Yeah.
Also, thank you to our sponsor, Barrel and Bond, 100 Broadway Street in beautiful downtown Paducah, right there on the banks of the Ohio River.
Enjoy their bathroom pond.
That's how I get to the grocery store.
That's how I get to Illinois.
Yeah.
Goes right through the Ohio River. It does.
And of course, thanks to all of you for listening. Thanks for subscribing, all those Patreon subscribers out there. Thanks for engaging with us on social media. Thanks for leaving us comments, reviews. We love you. We thank you for sticking with us another year.
I don't know him that well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of a shortish episode. But we'll be back next week and play some more Achtung Cthulhu. Because I suspect this is not the end, blowing up this radio tower.
I heard the word hordes of enemies, so yeah, it might take a while.
No, it's just the one guy.
That's one guy named Horde.
Yeah. Hello, I'm John Horde. I'm defending the radio tower. And,
This is my book.
yeah.
This is my radio.
Yeah, these Nazis came to Minnesota and recruited me. I said, yeah, sounds good. Snow.
John Horde, that's my name.
Yeah, of Norwegian descent, so I'd have like plenty of poop areas.
Plenty me flags.
I'm sorry, Norway.
Yes, apologies.
Sven needs the snow so he can cover it.
He's a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you for listening. I'm Kyle.
Todd.
Corey.
Austin.
It's mehr Regelungsland, ist das Haus.